and I'm doing this a little different, y'all. I hate to see when a brother come home after doing 30 years, 20 years, and they just go on a podcast and get their story away for free. And that podcast that you go on, they might make 20, 30 grand hearing your story. I ain't got no problem with you doing a podcast, but if you're going to do it, let's make sure the brothers get compensated so they can provide and take care of their family. So I want to make sure they get a chance to take care of their family, man. And we got the documentary Miami Kingpins coming out, but I'm going to tell everybody what's different about this here, man. I ain't making a dollar from this. I want everybody to understand that. I did this out of kindness of my heart because they made that kind of impact and made me to be an entrepreneur. I want the profit and proceeds to go to these brothers so they can provide for their family. I don't want one brown penny more than what I invested into it, get my money back. And that's called from the streets. It's called you fronting somebody something. That means getting them something. So I'm fronting these brothers. So when you support this documentary, you're going to help Burt take care of his family. You're going to help Bossman take care of his family. And that's just real as it can be, man. I just seen people doing it. I think that it's important that we get it that way and make it happen.
And I love it. Take care of his family.
And Bo, exactly, man. Bo to take care of his family as well, man.
Hey, it's Hip Hop and R&B on 103.5. The Beat, Papa Keith live in the building. And listen, I got some legends in here. Legends from all sorts, but I'm going to kick things off with my brother who's going to introduce our legends that we have today. One and only CEO, founder of Slip and Slide Records, Ted Lucas is in the building.
That's right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, King. And of course, thank you for your legacy and all that you've done for hip-hop and just the community in general throughout the years, man.
Definitely. No, I appreciate it, man. You know, I tell everybody, my blood just streams a little different. Mine a little orange, one eye green.
Right.
I ain't got that red blood. That thing bleed green and orange all the time. Might be a little aqua sometime, a dark green, but I'm Miami to the end, man.
That is correct, man. Well, listen, you brought some very serious people into my studio, man. And I'd like you to introduce them and tell us why you're here, because the Slip and Slide is branching out. I believe you've branched out to many other things before, but this is another form of branching out from the mainstream hip-hop artists that you put out.
That's right.
And stuff that you're doing to give us as consumers an opportunity to embrace Miami, right?
That's right. Definitely. Listen, man, I tell everybody, I don't feel 50 Cent the only one should have fun in this media game, you know what I'm saying, with content, man. I think there's a lot of people have great stories, and 50 has done a great job to get to where he at, but there's a lot more stories that need to be told, and I see Bad Boys come down here, do Bad Boy 1 and 2, so there's something about Miami that they keep making this movie.
Yeah.
You got Grand Theft Auto here doing Grand Theft Auto in Miami. I feel it's real that the real stories be told, and that we get a chance to let the truth come out and let people know about, you know, you got Cocaine Cowboys 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever they on right now, but you never get to hear it from just the black side and what really happened in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s.
But here's the funny part, right? Because even me, like, you know, I have a good stint down here in South Florida, but I'm originally from New York, for those who don't know. Even in the BMF and even in everybody else's story, there's always a story about going to Florida and getting jacked.
That's right.
Everybody got a Florida story.
Yeah.
So to your point, yes, we want to understand what was going on, because I remember watching BMF, and they talking and they had the Jack Boys out there, and I'm like, I'm not getting nobody
Miami boys to Atlanta and put it into their story.
They ain't nothing but unking them, you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
But there's no story to it.
No story.
Right. So, you know, it's just a piece of that in somebody else's story.
Yeah.
So I love this. What made you want to do this, bro?
Man, these two brothers made an impact in my life without even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? I tell everybody, Bossman and Ike, I'm born and raised in the Bahamas, Carol City. Ike put a house in my neighborhood. The house was so big, it overlooked all the houses.
The big house.
I remember that house. 207. I'm like, man, who did this? As a kid, going from elementary school, I'm looking at the house, looking like the biggest house in that neighborhood. I want to know who did this. When I found out Bossman and Ike did it, now I want to know more about it. It inspired me, you know what I'm saying? And Burt, man, I tell everybody, man, the style, everything about it, man. I had to go get me a pair of gazelles, not the big crazy one with the colors, but little ones that was real little. They had the little thing on it and the derby.
Yeah.
That came from Burt, man. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing the way Burt moved. And then when I found out he was the American Singing High School that I went to, the story just made a big impact on me, man. So just seeing how they made and what they did, it made me an entrepreneur. I tell everybody, the entrepreneurial spirit didn't come from my mom, my daddy, and nobody else. It was just seeing them brothers moving, how they got down. It motivated me to be a businessman, man. I started putting gold teeth in people out in the 7th grade as an entrepreneur. That's when it really came. You know, you go to Dr. Kelly and get it for $125, but you come to Touche and get it for $25. It might be a bullet cap, you know what I'm saying, 22, but I'm gonna give you a twinkle rag and you're gonna look good.
Right.
I had my whole school and everybody wearing caps in their mouth. Entrepreneurial spirit came in.
Yeah.
And I bought my first car in the 9th grade. Before I got to American High, I had a car. That's just the entrepreneurial spirit that these brothers put in me and made me do it. So when somebody make that kind of impact on you, man, I think it's important that you give back to them. And I'm doing this a little different, y'all. I hate to see when a brother come home after doing 30 years, 20 years, and they just go on a podcast and get their story away for free. And that podcast that you go on, they might make 20, 30 grand hearing your story. I ain't got no problem with you doing a podcast, but if you're going to do it, let's make sure the brothers get compensated so they can provide and take care of their family. So I want to make sure they get a chance to take care of their family, man. And we got the documentary Miami Kingpins coming out, but I'm going to tell everybody what's different about this here, man. I ain't making $1 from this. I want everybody to understand that. I did this out of kindness of my heart because they made that kind of impact and made me to be an entrepreneur. That I want the profit and proceeds to go to these brothers so they can provide for their family. I don't want one brown penny more than what I invested into it, get my money back. And that's called from the streets. It's called you fronting somebody something. That means giving them something. So I'm fronting these brothers. So when you support this documentary, you're going to help Burt take care of his family. You're going to help Bossman take care of his family. And that's just real as it can be, man. I just seen people doing it. I think that it's important that we get it that way and make it happen.
And I love it.
Take care of his family.
And Bo, exactly, man. Bo to take care of his family as well, man.
Yeah,
so that's important.
Absolutely. Man. That's great, man. And thank you for sharing that with us. And it's important that, you know, you deliver that type of message for people to understand that we got to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I don't really care for with hip-hop is that, you know, other genres of music, they honor, you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Those people, not just in the name of the songs, but like just honor those people. You know, in rock and other genres, but in hip hop, we always trying to dismiss our legends and dismiss.
That's right.
You know, and like, oh, okay, OG, okay, like, what? Like, there would be no you without me. So, like, what do you mean, okay? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so, listen, let me talk to Burt real quick, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's the brother?
Hey, listen,
Peace.
Man, glad to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
For sure, for sure. Burt, man, you are definitely a street legend, man. Name and songs and you know, well respected over many, many, many years. But one thing I would like to kind of twist the narrative and have people understand and give you an opportunity to speak to, you know, when you talk about like a lot of the, you know, our street heroes, let's just call it that for you know for right now. There was a lot of good that y'all brothers was doing that never really gets the light, you know, because the exciting thing is to talk about this and that and, you know, the control you had. But, you know, there was some good y'all was doing.
Yeah, I always did for my community and people that was in need. You know, that's what I was getting money for, you know, to help other people, not just myself. You know, I always been that way. You know, if you know, along my journey, if I seen somebody that needed a helping hand, I always extended my hand. You know, and then I was getting it like that, so it wasn't no problem. You know what I'm saying? And if something, you know, you always want to help people. You know what I mean? Because I came from the struggle, so I understand. Right.
Did you feel that during that time, like there was no other options but that? I think that's another thing people don't understand. It was like, oh, you know, you're so smart enough to run an empire. You know, you could have took that in the classroom, but not everybody ain't built for that. You know what I'm saying? So can you speak to that?
Yeah, but you know, everything. You know, I came up around that, so I inherited. You know, I kind of like inherited. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on, you know, coming, you know, around the game. I grew up on 15th Avenue. So, you know, that was one of the biggest drug, you know what I'm saying, drug streets in Miami. You know what I mean? In the world, really, one time. You know what I'm saying? It's drug strips in the world. So I grew up around that. So I was, you know, I seen it firsthand. So, you know, once you see guys that, you know, nice clothes, nice jewelry, nice cars and stuff like that, they hustling. You know, it expired. It really, at that time, you know, I was a kid. But you know what I'm saying? When I learned, when I learned what they was doing was wrong. You know, I knew it was wrong, but it really inspired me, man. You know, because they, you know, they was getting money. You know, and they had nice stuff. You know what I mean? So it inspired me to really want to be that.
Right.
You know, just like somebody, you know, growing up in a different environment around doctors and lawyers.
They gonna want to be that. Right.
So, but on the flip side, I was on the other side of the track, so I kind of like was inspired by that, and then, you know, I came, you know, it kind of like took on me. You know what I mean?
How'd you get the name? Convertible Burt. Can you talk about that story?
Yeah, well, you know, I was always fascinated with convertibles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I was the, you know, like the dunks and all that. I'm the one that made that really popular, like the convertibles. You know, the culture, convertible culture, and all that stuff. You know, you got to understand back then. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't plentiful like it is now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys ain't had it. Just, you know, like the motorcycles and all that stuff there. You know, I was a young guy with plenty of money. I had all that stuff back then.
Right.
So now all that's popular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I really brought a lot of that stuff to light. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, man. Let's talk about some of the things that you've done for the community as well. You know, we want to also paint the picture. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all, you know, negative. There were some things that you did to help the community.
You know, like growing up, I helped a lot of people, save a lot of people in the streets, classroom, you know, growing up. I've been in the streets since I was 9 years old. You know, I watched my daddy after I was drunk, gambling house. And like I said, I watched a whole lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, forehand.
That's what's up. What area were you controlling back in those days?
I've been hustling Overtown, Liberty City, Opelika, even Cal City.
Got you.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
At the height, you know, I had a lot of spots.
Right.
You know, getting money. You know, like I said, I have a whole lot of different people.
That's what's up.
Just like the streets, just like anywhere you go, you got all walks of life of people. Like these jobs now. At jobs now, you got all walks of life of people.
Yep.
You know?
What do you see now, the difference between the codes that you guys used to have in the streets back then to where it is now? Like, you know, I would always hear about how things would be back then, you know?
Right. Right now, I see since I've been out. You know, I did 31 years and 6 months. And what I see now since I've been out, the world changed. You got social media now. You got cameras now. You got different people. You know, doing different stuff. Kids grew up now. You know, back then you ain't see kids with kids. You know,
right?
You got right now. You got girls on women with women.
Right.
It's different now. So it's a whole just like hustling. You know, back then, you know, you could hustle paint, anything to make money.
Yeah.
You know, and just like one thing, like me myself, I wrote a book called Original Miami Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book because that's the way I grew up. I live. Anybody from Miami, Haitian, Cuban, you take Miami game and go all over the world and make money.
Yeah.
You hear me? And one thing about Miami, when I was young in the South, you go to South Carolina in the 70s. I go to their liquor store, they close at 10 o'clock. Yeah. But you go to Miami all night
24
long.
hours.
All night long.
24 hours.
It's just the culture. Like you know, the Cuban, Columbia, they take Miami game and go all over the world and get money.
Exactly.
Clear as day, you know.
Convertible Burt,
talk to me.
Could you talk about also the game back then and the rules that you guys had in place to how it's different now? Like I'm even seeing some of these cats rat on themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Just
well, you know,
for the social media.
Right,
you
but
know?
that social media was so addictive that they have, you know, it gets so addictive that they do it so, and then they get so immune to it that they don't even know they telling on themselves.
Right, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you know, we was under the mafia code. You know, we ain't, you know, it's a whole lot that we ain't really talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, right, take no pictures of none of that stuff.
Right.
You know, we was telling that silent code, but it's different now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people want to, you know, with the social media, it's a whole different ball game because they want to really they want to be seen. And then not only that, you know, and so certain you know, certain things in the social media, you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they're getting paid to tell on themselves.
Man,
that's what they do.
That's
new
to me.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Teddy, man, I know it's American Black Film Festival week going on right now. What are you looking to accomplish, and how can people get involved with this project that you have?
So listen, man, we've been on this project about 3 years, man, putting this whole thing together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we sat down with Grand Theft Auto, and me and Burt got a chance to communicate with them. My plan is the TV series, man. You know, like I said, you don't have, they got to have it, man. You got, LA got mini TV series.
Mm-hmm.
New York got mini TV series. We ain't had a real Miami TV series since Miami Vice. I think it's time that it's be seen and be heard. Sat down with different networks, I went ahead and put this project out independently. Like I had to do music to let people see.
Right.
So when them numbers come back and the numbers show what they do, they're gonna be a whole different negotiation. Then, boy, they got to come sit on down to my terms. And I ain't going to New York. I ain't going to LA. I want you to come to Miami. We're gonna do the thing like Tyler Perry doing in Atlanta.
Yeah,
you
love
come
it.
sit down and talk to us.
Yeah.
And make the right deal happen because I'm really serious about making a TV series about Miami.
So how can we get you there? Do we need to purchase this
Yes.
movie and tell us the steps on
It's
that?
no different than people buying albums, man. We need everybody to go out and support this 4th of July weekend. This thing gonna be on DirecTV, Comcast, all the major networks. You just go out and purchase it, man. And when they see them numbers, they're gonna be like, it's something there that we need to really sit down and talk with. We don't sit down with everybody, but they weren't ready to move yet. So
Right.
I'm the type, I put my money where my mouth is, and I have to make it shake and make it do what it got to do. So,
That's what's up. Tell everybody the name of the film that we're gonna be looking out for this 4th of July.
yeah, man, Miami Kingpins, man.
Miami
Yeah,
Kingpins.
then it's designed for a TV series and movies. So we finna turn Miami to the baby Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It's TV. We coming straight out. We coming straight with the TV series. Soon as this thing hit, we gonna start prepping for the TV series. So you know what I'm saying? We need everybody's support. We need everybody, to go out and purchase it, and we gonna change Miami.
That's what's up.
That's right.
That's what's up. Well, Bossman, Convertible, Ted Lucas, I appreciate you all. This is an amazing venture. We're going to fully support it here, brother. And we want y'all to feed your family and feed other families
That's
once
real.
this thing hit down
Open up
here.
more doors.
Real heavy, you know what I'm saying?
real.
Teddy, continue doing what you're doing, brother. You have our full support, man. We love you, brother.
Love you as well, my brother.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just created a Converter Life nonprofit.
Oh,
so we
nice.
gonna really be hitting the streets and doing some things.
That's what's up, man.
You know
Well,
what I
Teddy will
mean?
let you know, man. If you need my help with anything in the
real.
community stuff, that's my lane. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd
we
love to
definitely
work
gonna
with
get
you.
together on some stuff.
All right, sounds good, brother.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
appreciate y'all, brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you for
All
having
right,
me.
now.
All right.